I lost everything in the fire, but found a $1 million opportunity from the ashes. The fire came on a Tuesday night, an unrelenting force that consumed everything I had built over 2 decades. It started in the electrical panel of my small bakery downtown, a place where dreams were kneaded into dough and baked into reality. The flames spread with terrifying speed, devouring not just walls and equipment but memories, photographs, and the very essence of who I was. When firefighters finally contained the inferno, all that remained was a skeleton of charred beams and ash-covered floors. Standing amidst the ruins, wrapped in a neighbor's blanket against both the cold and shock, I felt utterly lost. Every recipe book, every special ingredient sourced from distant lands, every custom-made baking tool gone. The insurance adjuster's words kept echoing in my mind, total loss. Those 2 simple words carried the weight of an entire life's work reduced to rubble. My hands trembled as they clutched the only thing I'd managed to save, a small wooden rolling pin, scorched but still intact, that had belonged to my grandmother. For days afterward, I wandered through what was left of Sweet Memories Bakery like a ghost haunting its own past. The acrid smell of burnt sugar and flour lingered in the air, mixing with the dampness of fire hoses. Each step through the debris field revealed another piece of my shattered world: melted display cases where wedding cakes once stood proud, twisted metal shelves that used to hold rows of perfect baguettes, and the blackened outline of where my favorite baking station had been. Customers' faces flashed before my eyes, regulars who had become family over the years, their smiles now replaced by expressions of sympathy and concern. The financial devastation matched the emotional toll. Loans secured against the business property, suppliers demanding payment for recent orders, employees needing their wages, the web of obligations seemed endless. As I sat at my kitchen table, surrounded by bills and insurance papers, the reality hit me harder than the initial shock of losing the building itself. This wasn't just about rebuilding, it was about survival. The community rallied around me with fundraisers and kind words, but deep down, I knew charity wouldn't be enough to resurrect what I'd lost. Yet even in those darkest moments, something inside refused to accept defeat. Maybe it was the memory of my grandmother teaching me to bake when I was just a child, her gentle hands guiding mine as we worked dough together. Or perhaps it was the countless hours spent perfecting recipes until they became second nature. Whatever it was, this stubborn spark within me began to grow, fueled by anger, determination, and an unwillingness to let 20 years of passion disappear into smoke. As I sifted through the ashes, literally and figuratively, I found myself drawn to the remnants of our specialty items. Our signature lavender shortbread cookies, infused with herbs from local farms. The gluten-free sourdough that took months to perfect. The artisan chocolate truffles made with beans sourced directly from Ecuadorian farmers. These weren't just products, they represented connections, with growers, with customers, with traditions passed down through generations. The fire had destroyed physical objects, but these relationships remained intact, waiting to be rebuilt stronger than before. One morning, while sorting through salvageable items, I noticed something peculiar. Among the debris lay several pieces of packaging material that hadn't completely burned. They were prototypes for a new line of eco-friendly packaging I'd been developing with a young designer friend. The concept had been shelved due to cost concerns, deemed too ambitious for our small operation. Yet here it was, surviving where everything else had perished. The irony struck me: what we thought couldn't survive economically had endured physically. This discovery sparked a chain reaction of thoughts. During my years in business, I'd watched countless startups emerge, armed with innovative ideas and technology that traditional bakeries struggled to incorporate. Online ordering platforms, social media marketing, sustainable practices, these weren't just trends, they were the future. My bakery had always prided itself on quality and tradition, but perhaps we'd been clinging too tightly to the past while ignoring the opportunities of the present. The idea began forming slowly at first, like yeast working its magic in warm dough. What if this tragedy wasn't just an end, but also a beginning? The insurance settlement, though substantial, wouldn't cover rebuilding exactly what we'd lost. But what if we didn't try to recreate the old bakery? What if we embraced this clean slate as an opportunity to revolutionize not just our business, but the entire local food industry? I reached out to Emma, my designer friend who had helped with the sustainable packaging. Her enthusiasm was immediate and infectious. "You know," she said during our first brainstorming session, "what if we create a platform that connects small food producers with consumers who care about sustainability and authenticity?" Her eyes sparkled with possibilities. We could develop a subscription service offering not just baked goods, but a curated experience of local artisanal foods, each product telling its own story of craftsmanship and community. The more we discussed it, the more excited I became. This wasn't just about selling bread anymore, it was about creating a movement. We could partner with local farmers, artisans, and small-scale producers, helping them reach wider markets while maintaining their unique identities. Technology would play a crucial role, a mobile app connecting customers directly with makers, educational content about sustainable practices, virtual cooking classes featuring local chefs. The possibilities seemed endless. But the path forward wasn't without challenges. Traditional banks were hesitant to invest in such an unconventional concept, especially given my recent loss. Venture capitalists wanted equity stakes that would dilute the community-focused mission. Then there was the personal hurdle, learning to navigate the digital landscape, understanding marketing analytics, grasping supply chain logistics on a scale far beyond anything I'd previously managed. Nights were spent studying online courses, days filled with meetings and pitches, all while managing the emotional roller coaster of starting over. Despite these obstacles, support came from unexpected quarters. Former customers offered testimonials about how sweet memories had impacted their lives. Local business owners shared resources and advice. Even competitors extended helping hands, recognizing that success in one area could lift the entire community. Most surprising was the interest from younger generations, millennials and Gen Z entrepreneurs eager to learn from someone who understood both traditional craft and modern innovation. As plans progressed, I found myself standing at a crossroads that felt simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating. The bakery had been my identity for so long that stepping into this new venture felt like shedding an old skin. Yet every time doubt crept in, I remembered those partially burned packaging prototypes rising from the ashes. They symbolized resilience, adaptability, and the power of embracing change even when it feels impossible. Our first test run came sooner than expected. A local tech conference needed catering services, and despite our limited resources, we pitched an idea. Instead of traditional conference snacks, we provide a tasting journey through local artisanal products, complete with stories about each maker. The response was overwhelming. Attendees didn't just enjoy the food, they connected with the narratives behind it. Orders began pouring in from companies wanting similar experiences for their events. Restaurants asked about featuring our curated selections on their menus. Food bloggers wrote about our innovative approach to community-based cuisine. This initial success brought both validation and pressure. Scaling operations required careful consideration: how to maintain quality while growing, how to ensure fair compensation for partners, how to balance technological integration with human touch. Each decision felt monumental, carrying the weight of not just my future, but potentially reshaping the local food ecosystem. The turning point came during a particularly challenging week. We'd secured a major contract with a national retailer interested in featuring our curated boxes, but the terms threatened to compromise our commitment to small producers. As I wrestled with this dilemma, sitting in what had once been my office above the bakery, now just an empty lot, I realized something fundamental. This wasn't just about business growth or financial recovery, it was about preserving the values that had made sweet memories special, even if the physical building was gone. Community meetings became strategy sessions. Local farmers transformed into logistics experts. Young tech professionals found themselves discussing soil quality and fermentation processes. The boundaries between different sectors blurred as we worked together toward a common vision. What emerged was more than a business model, it was a living organism of interconnected parts, each contributing to a greater whole. Every morning began with walking through the site of the old bakery, now cleared and waiting for whatever came next. The space felt pregnant with possibility, no longer defined by what it had been, but by what it could become. Suppliers dropped by with samples, investors called with questions, potential partners arrived with proposals. Each interaction added another layer to the evolving tapestry of our new venture. Yet beneath all the activity ran a current of something deeper, a recognition that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars or square footage. It resided in relationships nurtured, skills shared, and communities strengthened. The fire had taken much, but it had also illuminated paths previously hidden by the comfortable routines of daily business. Standing amidst the organized chaos of planning sessions and development meetings, I realized we were building something far more valuable than any single bakery could ever be. The challenge now lay in maintaining this momentum while staying true to core principles. How do you scale authentic connection? How do you preserve individual stories while reaching mass audiences? These questions became daily meditations, guiding decisions large and small. Every obstacle encountered became an opportunity to innovate, every setback a chance to reinforce foundational values. As autumn leaves began falling on the empty lot where Sweet Memories once stood, I found myself reflecting on the nature of transformation. Like those leaves, we must let go of what we've known to make way for new growth. The fire had forced my hand, but it was the community's collective spirit that fanned the embers into something extraordinary. Now, as winter approached and plans solidified, anticipation built for what spring might bring, not just for me, but for everyone who had invested hope in this phoenix rising from the ashes. The winter months brought both challenges and unexpected blessings. As we worked tirelessly to transform our vision into reality, the community's support grew in ways I never could have anticipated. Local artists began creating murals on the temporary fencing around the old bakery site, each painting telling a story of resilience and renewal. School children visited with letters of encouragement, their innocent perspectives offering fresh insights about what our new venture could mean for future generations. Even the local government took notice, offering tax incentives and zoning adjustments that would have been impossible to secure before the fire. Our team expanded organically, drawing in people who believed in our mission. There was Marcus, a former tech executive turned urban farmer, who helped us develop an app that connected consumers directly with producers. Sarah, a young marketing whiz who had grown up buying her birthday cakes from Sweet Memories, joined forces to craft our digital presence. And then there was Mr. Patel, owner of the corner store 2 blocks away, who became our unofficial logistics guru, teaching us how small businesses could leverage shared resources to maximize efficiency. Each new addition brought unique skills but also presented integration challenges. The gap between traditional baking knowledge and modern technology sometimes felt like a chasm. During one particularly frustrating meeting about supply chain algorithms, I found myself longing for the simplicity of kneading dough by hand. Yet these moments of tension often led to breakthroughs. When we struggled to explain artisanal production methods to our tech team, we started hosting Heritage Days, where everyone participated in traditional baking techniques. These hands-on experiences fostered understanding and created bonds that transcended professional roles. As we prepared for our official launch, scheduled to coincide with spring, symbolizing rebirth and new beginnings, something remarkable happened. Other small businesses in the area began approaching us, eager to learn from our transformation. A family-owned butcher shop wanted help developing sustainable packaging solutions. A flower shop sought advice on creating online workshops. Even the local hardware store expressed interest in joining our network of curated local products. What had started as a personal journey of recovery was evolving into a community-wide movement of reinvention. The media took notice too. Food magazines wrote features about our story, while business publications analyzed our hybrid model of tradition meets technology. The attention brought increased pressure but also validation. We weren't just rebuilding a bakery, we were pioneering a new approach to local commerce. This realization hit me one evening while reviewing customer feedback from our beta testing phase. People weren't just buying products, they were investing in stories, in connections, in a vision of community that went beyond transactions. Yet success brought its own set of moral dilemmas. Larger corporations began expressing interest in acquiring our platform, offering sums that could secure financial comfort for life. Investors pushed for rapid expansion that might compromise our commitment to small producers. Each offer required careful consideration, weighing immediate gain against long-term impact. During one particularly intense board meeting, Emma reminded everyone of our core principle: we're not just building a business, we're building trust. Every decision must honor that. This philosophy guided us through difficult choices. When a major grocery chain offered to stock our curated boxes nationwide, we negotiated terms that protected our partners' interests, even if it meant slower growth. When a tech giant proposed integrating our platform into their ecosystem, we insisted on maintaining control over data and relationships. These decisions sometimes frustrated those focused solely on financial metrics, but they strengthened our bond with the community that had supported us from the beginning. Spring arrived with a flourish, bringing not just warmer weather but a palpable sense of anticipation. The empty lot where Sweet Memories once stood transformed into a temporary marketplace, featuring pop-up stalls from various local producers. Each Saturday morning, the space filled with laughter, conversations, and the mingling aromas of freshly baked bread, artisanal cheeses, and blooming flowers. It wasn't just commerce, It was communion. Our official launch coincided with the first farmers market of the season. Instead of a ribbon-cutting ceremony, we hosted a community feast. Long tables stretched across the space, laden with dishes created collaboratively by local chefs using ingredients from our partner producers. As I looked around at the diverse gathering, families sharing meals, children playing among the stalls, elders sharing stories, I realized we created something far more valuable than any single business could achieve alone. The digital platform launched simultaneously, allowing customers to experience this marketplace virtually. Our app didn't just facilitate purchases, it told stories through interactive content, video profiles of producers, and educational resources about sustainable practices. Users could trace the journey of their food from farm to table, participate in virtual cooking classes, and even book experiences like visiting local farms or attending artisan workshops. The response exceeded all expectations, with downloads surpassing projections within the first week. However, success brought new challenges. Managing growth required careful balancing. We implemented strict criteria for new partners to ensure quality and alignment with our values. Technology demands increased, requiring more sophisticated infrastructure. Customer service needed scaling without losing personal touch. Each day presented new puzzles to solve, new bridges to build between tradition and innovation. One of the most surprising developments came from unexpected quarters. Former competitors, initially skeptical of our model, began reaching out for collaboration. Some wanted to join our network, others sought advice on implementing similar systems. We organized monthly roundtable discussions where local business owners could share challenges and solutions. These meetings evolved into a supportive community of entrepreneurs committed to elevating each other rather than viewing success as a zero-sum game. The education aspect of our venture flourished beyond expectations. Schools incorporated our platform into their curriculum, teaching students about sustainability, entrepreneurship, and community economics. Local universities partnered with us for research projects exploring the intersection of technology and traditional crafts. Even adult education programs benefited, with many participants gaining skills that helped them start their own ventures. As summer approached, we faced perhaps our greatest test yet. A major natural disaster struck a neighboring region, devastating local food producers. While not directly part of our network, these communities shared similar values and challenges. The question arose, should we extend our resources to help them recover? Doing so would strain our still developing infrastructure and potentially impact our bottom line. Yet ignoring their plight would contradict everything we stood for. The decision-making process revealed the true strength of what we'd built. Without prompting, many of our partners volunteered to contribute products and expertise. Customers reached out asking how they could help. Tech teams worked overtime developing tools to coordinate relief efforts. What emerged was a testament to the power of interconnected communities working toward common goals. We established a temporary branch of our operations dedicated to disaster recovery support, focusing not just on immediate aid but on helping affected businesses rebuild stronger and more resilient. Through this experience, I learned something profound about leadership. It wasn't about having all the answers or making unilateral decisions. True leadership involved creating spaces where diverse voices could contribute to solutions, where individual strengths combined to form something greater than the sum of its parts. Watching volunteers organize themselves, seeing partners collaborate across traditional boundaries, observing customers become active participants rather than passive consumers, these moments defined our journey more than any financial metric ever could. Autumn returned, marking our first full year since the fire. The temporary marketplace had evolved into a permanent community hub, featuring flexible spaces for events, workshops, and gatherings. Solar panels powered the facility, rainwater collection systems supported urban agriculture projects, and smart technology integrated seamlessly with traditional craftsmanship. What had begun as a necessity born from tragedy had transformed into a living laboratory of sustainable commerce. Yet amid all this progress, I often found myself returning to that small wooden rolling pin, the only physical remnant of Sweet Memories Bakery. Its charred surface told a story of survival, adaptation, and growth. When doubts crept in or challenges seemed insurmountable, holding it reminded me of how far we'd come and how much further we could go. It represented not just my personal journey but the collective evolution of everyone who had contributed to this transformation. The holiday season approached, traditionally our busiest time. But this year felt different. Instead of stress about meeting sales targets, there was excitement about the connections we'd help create. Families planned virtual gatherings using our platform to share recipes across distances. Local artisans collaborated on special edition gift boxes that told stories of cultural heritage. Restaurants developed holiday menus featuring ingredients sourced through our network, each dish carrying multiple narratives of community and craft. As I walked through the bustling hub one December evening, watching lights reflect off frost-covered windows, I realized something fundamental had shifted. Success was no longer measured by square footage or revenue figures. It resided in the laughter of children learning to bake with their grandparents, in the pride of young entrepreneurs launching their dreams, in the satisfaction of knowing we'd created something that would continue growing long after we were gone. But the journey was far from over. New technologies emerged daily, offering both opportunities and challenges. Climate change continued to impact agricultural practices, requiring constant adaptation. Economic fluctuations tested the resilience of our model. Each day presented fresh questions about how to balance growth with authenticity, innovation with tradition, profit with purpose.